Paper 7, Literatures of India, an Introduction, Part 2, Semester 6th, Session 46. Session title, Dramatic Innovations and Techniques of the Play. Dance Like a Man is acclaimed by theatre critics for its dramatic techniques and innovations employed by the playwright Mahesh Dattani. Dance Like a Man has two timelines to it, the past and the present. Mahesh Dattani cleverly shifts the settings, roles, and properties created on the stage to represent the blend of the past and the present. The technique of role switching and multiple roles is personalized by Dattani in Dance Like a Man. While studying gender studies in Dattani's work, Asha Kothari Chowdhury comments that the technique of using minimal characters maximizes the staged impact of stereotypes through time. The changing role changes the sense of time, and it also changes the frustrated patriarch Amritlal into a frustrated alcoholic Jairaj. While the total numbers of key characters in the play are seven, there are just four actors who represent the seven characters. The representation is as follows. Amritlal Parekh of the past also plays the old Jairaj of the present. Young Jairaj of the past also plays Vishwas of the present. Young Ratna of the past also plays Lata of the present. Finally, there is old Ratna of the present who has a single role to play. By this innovative method of role switching, the past and the present are tied together with the same actors. The roles here are played by only four characters, but in real life too, we have to play many roles. A single person plays a role of father, son, son in law, uncle, brother, and so on. So, unintentionally, a man practices the discriminatory role in his life which hurts the people around him. Mahesh Dattani gives much importance to this role switching and expects that this is adhered to carefully as it is vital to the structure of the play. While concentrating on the family unit and human relationships, Dattani bravely experiments with the techniques of presentation. He often uses split scenes, hidden rooms, and many other innovations. In Dance Like a Man, Dattani makes use of the flashback technique and the split scene device. When specified in the script, the rare pane is slit to reveal a garden. The garden represents the past, and the events of the past life invariably take place in the garden. As opposed to this, the living room in the house represents the present. All events pertaining to the present take place here. Thus, the split scene is a convenient device to move the action between the present and the past. Dattani employs subtle yet powerful props to show the switch. For example, the older Jairaj switches to become Amritlal as soon as he wears the shawl, and he becomes older Jairaj as soon as he takes off the shawl. For instance, in Act 1, Jairaj wears the shawl, he is immediately fixed in the spotlight. The music builds up until suddenly Jati style syllables being recited can be heard. The living room now changes into a beautiful rose garden. Spotlight picks up a young man with his back to the audience, dancing. A young woman sits in front of him. Jairaj has become the father, Amritlal Parekh. Vishwas has become Jairaj, and Lata has become Ratna. Their ages remain the same as the characters they played previously, but it is now 1940s. In Act 2, as soon as Ratna exits, the garden becomes the living room. Amritlal becomes the older Jairaj as he removes the shawl. The older Ratna's voice picks up where the younger one's trails off. Critic Yadav Raju also points out that Dattani employs split scene, where two different scenes are staged at different corners of the stage alternately. He also mentions the brilliant use of hidden rooms, like the library, that's the practice hall for young Jairaj and young Ratna in the past, and the bedroom of Lata in the present. The use of flashback is also noted for showing the narrative of the past. Lilith Dubé recollected the impressions of the play in the statement. Lilith Dubé happens to be the most important director of the Tanis play, Dance Like a Man. It's the beautifully crafted the way it moves and forth in time. Its use of one actor to play more than one role, which really tests the actor's talent, makes it as unique as does the strong of characterization and the seamless movements in time. Use of flashback technique in the play. Dattani uses the flashback technique as one of his dramatic devices in the second part of Act 1 to focus on the conflict between art and society. Young Jairaj and Ratna face tremendous opposition from Amritlal Parekh for their unflinching passion for dance, while Ratna is prevented from learning the Mysore school of dance from an old Devadasi, Chennai Amma. Jairaj's heated argument with Amrilal culminates in his abandoning of the house with Ratna. The first flashback ends with this defiance. Act 2 continues the flashback with Jairaj and Ratna's return to the mansion. Within 48 hours, absolutely defeated. The helplessness is exploited by Amritlal, who strikes a deal with Ratna, promising to allow her to excel as a dancer only if she schemes to prevent Jairaj from evolving as a male Bharatanatyam dancer. As Amritlal buys her at the ambition of Jairaj's passion, she deliberately destroys Jairaj by undermining his self-esteem as an artist. In the second flashback, one sees how the neglected Jairaj is reduced to drunken impotency while Ratna continues to deliver brilliant performances, often sponsored by Amritlal himself. The flashback ends with the death of the infant Shankar owing to an overdose of opium, while Jairaj accuses Ratna of parental irresponsibility. The play finally ends in the present times while Jairaj and Ratna have been united in matrimony. Jairaj admits the being human. They lacked the grace, brilliance, and magic to dance like God. Simultaneously, young Jairaj and Ratna are seen to pose, ready to dance, while music takes over and spotlights fade. The Tanya's work encompass issues that are not conventional in terms of mainstream or entertaining theatre. Conversing with Sachidananda Mohanty, he sheds light on the theme of Dance Like a Man. It's about an old couple, dancers, ex-dancers. They are in their 60s and they are looking back at past when they struggled against the stigmas attached to Bharatanatyam in the 50s, that it was a Devadasis dance, compounding the problem for the man. The very title of the play anticipates the conflicts and complications that the audience is expected to encounter. The primary focus is on the construction of male stereotypes and the question of one's essential identity. As Anjali Multani observes, the simile contained in the title is suggestive of the central question put forward by the male protagonist Jairaj. Is he dancing like a man? As the very notion of dance is opposed to that of maleness. Amritlal Parekh, the autocratic father, views Bharatanatyam as a craft of prostitute, and thus a man must never learn it, or whoever learns it could not be a man. Here we are reminded of Judith Butler, who elaborates that gender is a performative, a socially pre established pattern of behavior and a cultural process. Performing arts is conventionally associated with femininity, and therefore, when Jairaj oversteps his jurisdiction by taking to dancing, his position is several stigmatized for choosing a woman's profession. Though dancing is his way of self expression and his only medium of discovering his identity. As in Bravely Fought the Queen, Dattani here interrogates gender binaries. The gender constructs of society is made explicit through Amrit Lal's statement that it is central to the play. A woman in a man's world may be considered as being progressive, but a man in a woman's world is pathetic. Thus, social bias against the art of dance is highlighted in the play. Dattani's theatre is urban theatre on everyday life, and the audience can connect with the actors and thus the issues raised. His language incorporates modern abbreviations like Guju, Sauti, and also combines levity with the serious. Vishwas is a comic character who indulges in playful antics, makes peculiar comments and dance owing to his inadequate knowledge of Bharatanatyam. Even his conversations with Lata and her parents at the beginning of the play amuse us. Nonetheless, he acts as a catalyst to reveal the dark secrets of the family relationships and its generational conflicts. Amritlal's resentment for the Guruji, who keeps long hair, is countered when Ratna informs him that his son has decided to grow his hair longer as in Kuchipudi. The men dress up as women. Here, not only Amritlal, but all those people are ridiculed who assume that a long haired man cannot be a real man. But at the same time, one cannot afford to forget that Amritlal is the decider of the family and all others are subservient to his will and authority. The Sahitya Academy Award praises Dattani's works as it is probes tangled attitudes in contemporary India. His plays are of action and ideas illuminating our times that grant universality to his work. Dattani observes, theatre to me is a reflection of what you observe, and like Shakespeare, he holds to society a mirror of itself. Dance Like a Man is akin to traditional folk theatre in its minimalist design. Dattani revives one of the oldest classical dance forms, reminding us of our roots and showing in the process how heredity and society both condition an individual. His issue is traditional, and so is his structure. So form and content do not contradict each other. But his modernity is evident as he focuses on the conflicts in the psyche and the inner turpitude of man. He neither divides his characters into watertight compartments nor is conclusive about anybody. Though the play is multifaceted and thought provoking, quick change of location and time and cuts is likely to make the performance clumsy. The fact that, unlike in films, stage space is limited seems to have escaped his attention. A successful play is a director's play, an actor's play, and the spectator's play. Dattani's play is dialogic, ample stage directions concerning light, music, scene, focus, and emotions reduce the director's challenge. His is a problem play following Ibsen's realistic tradition, where the audience's imagination gets restrained as almost everything is told, unlike in the absurd genre. Dattani's play is highly cinematic, probably due to which he rewrote the play as a screenplay in a later volume. Dattani doesn't seem to be a regular practitioner of theatre, and therefore the stage ability of Dance Like a Man can be put to question. Thank you.